Welcome back to day 3. And it's so nice to see smiling faces every evening. So, yesterday we saw from the Ashtavakra Gita how Gurudev explains so beautifully about the elements, the secret of the elements, how each sense organ is connected with one of the elements. And Gurudev gives very nice examples. Says that if you ever visited the seashore and you stood there, the waves came and they took a little bit of sand from below your feet, but leaving you untouched. In the same way, all these elements they come when fire comes up in us. The fire element is predominant. It brings certain emotions. When the earth element is predominant, that brings certain emotions. And one of the things that Gurudev says so beautifully here, he says that we bind the elements. So he says, you are none of these 5 elements, and know that none of the elements stay all the time. If you observe, they stay for a time, have their say, and then they vanish. But if you're ignorant of this, then a particular element can continue for a long period of time. For example, anger comes up, but it goes away. But if we tend to hold on to anger and we keep thinking of that person and continue, then we are binding the fire. So Gurudev says very beautifully that the irony of this is that the elements are not binding you, you are binding them. So he said there is a freedom in realizing that you're a witness to all of this happening. Esham sakshinam atmanam chidrupam vidhi muktaye. Esham, this sakshinam atmanam. That is, the Atman is the Sakshi. It is witnessing this play of the elements. Now, if you look at it, when things are happening in our life, it feels so real, feels I am doing this, I am experiencing love, I am experiencing devotion, I feel this way to some person, I feel angry, I am feeling these emotions. How can you say I'm not these emotions? The question can come up. I feel so much. I identify so much with my emotion. Given this situation, I will get angry. If I'm passionate about the environment and someone does something, finished. Everyone knows our buttons. We just have to press one button and we react in a certain way. And usually the people close to us know exactly what to do to make us behave in a particular way. Every child knows how to irritate the parent. Every parent knows what to do to irritate the child. I can see smiles of recognition everywhere. So the elements are not binding us. Nature doesn't bind us. We wish to bind nature and we fail miserably. And that's why we become miserable. Freedom is when you realize that you are just the witness. Now you might ask, well, why don't I realize I'm the witness? If I'm really the witness, then it should be obvious to me. Why then does reality conflict with my experience of reality? Why do the sages say something and I'm experiencing something different? But if you turn it around and look, in flashes, we have all experienced this freedom from the elements. Maybe you have been angry for some time, and after some time, say, Yaar, why am I even angry? It's completely useless. Let me get out of it. No emotion ever stays for longer time. We come out of it. All our experience has told us that these emotions are changing. All our experiences have told us thoughts are changing. Yet I think I will have the same thought. Yet I think others should feel the same way about me. And we try to bind the elements. If someone, the water element is predominant in someone, and that is giving rise to certain emotions, certain thoughts, certain behavior, we say, well, this water element should be, this behavior should continue forever. But the reality is that this behavior is changing. We try to bind the element, it doesn't happen, this causes us misery. So, mukti mechhasi chetata. If you really want freedom, you stop binding the elements. Often we think the world is a bondage, but nature never binds us. Nature is full of freedom. And this is what we see. The water keeps flowing, air keeps moving, everything follows certain rules. Yet, when we align with nature, there is freedom. When you jump into a river and you swim in the direction of the river, you say, well, it's so easy. But if you try to swim against the current, say, oh my God, I'm putting so much effort and getting nowhere. Now remove the river and replace it with life. And you'll see if I'm moving against the current, I feel I'm doing so much effort and getting nowhere. And if I'm just aligned with the flow, then I feel I'm not doing anything, but everything is happening. Ashtavakra beautifully says, Esham sakshinam atmanam chidrupam vidhi muktaye. And when will this happen? Okay, after Kaship Bhaiya, you've been at it for 25 years. How many years do I have to put in to reach there? Yadi deham prithakritya chiti vishramya tishtasi adhunaiva sukhi shanto bandha mukto bhavishyasi. Ashtavakra is so compassionate. He says, adhunaiva, right now. Yadi deham prithakritya, if you can drop the body. Chiti vishramya tishtasi, if you can drop that, not dropping the body does not mean dying, saying, okay, only when I die, then I'll be happy. No, no. In death, the body drops us, but in freedom, we drop the body. So, what does he say here? The identification which we have with the body, if I can drop that, chiti vishramya tishtasi, if I can repose in the being, adhunaiva sukhi shanto, right now I can be happy and contented, peaceful. Bandha mukto bhavishyasi. It doesn't say bhavishyati. Bhavishyati means will happen sometime. He says bhavishyasi, it will happen right now. So Gurudev says, if you can see this body as a part of this earth, part of the air, and that is the reality. Isn't this body a part of this universe? Isn't it made up of the same atoms and molecules as the rest of this universe? Yes. Science says it's all proton, electron, neutron. If you go deeper, it's all wave function. That's it. Modern science says exactly the same thing that Ashtavakra is saying. Hey, this thing that you feel that this body is different from the rest of the world, it's not true. You'll say, well, Kaship Bhaiya, if I go through the passport immigration, then of course I can't show my passport and get someone else to go through. Definitely not for Vyavahara. In the day to day life, your sign is needed on the check, otherwise, it won't clear. You need your face in front of your phone, that's when it's going to unlock. For sure, there is one layer which has all of this. But when we can identify with that, yadi deham prithak kritya. Prithak means separate. Kritya means to do. If I can separate the identity from the body, what happens? I uh, I fuse my identity with my body. What do I think when I say me? I say, well, this is me. But I'm not just the body, I'm my thoughts, my ideas, my. When you cut your nails, do you become any lesser? Not at all. When you cut your hair, do you become any lesser? No. Every day, so many skin cells are getting shed, and yet I am the same. Every day I eat food, so many atoms from the outside becomes part of me, and every day so many atoms part of me goes out. Every breath, the oxygen comes into the lungs, gets absorbed, goes into the system. Carbon dioxide from the body comes out from the nose and goes out into the. Every breath, the cells that make up me are changing. The atoms that I am made up of change with every breath. This is the solid truth. So, what Ashtavakra is saying here, we hold on to our identity as if this body is like a rock. It's not changing, it's something solid. But wake up and see this body is changing. It's like the river. The river is always flowing. The Ganga is ancient, yet the water in it is perfectly new every moment. So, for me to sign the check, I can sign the check. But if my awareness is there, that if I can feel that, hey, mm, mm, this identification that I'm just this body, I can drop, I can still sign the check, and yet I can feel the freedom right this moment. To the extent we are able to do this, now you'll say, very difficult, Kashi Bhaiya. Yes, but during meditation, it becomes so easy for us to do this every time. And that is why Sudarshan Kriya, the proper vision, the ability to see the reality as it is, comes through the Sudarshan Kriya. For me, this has been such an amazing experience. As I keep doing the Sudarshan Kriya, a lot of people think it's just something for good health, it's another yogic practice. No, Sudarshan. And I'm amazed at all the possibilities that are there. Yadi deham prathak kritya. If I'm able to prathak, to separate from the deha. Now, separate from the deha doesn't mean that I have some out of body experience. No, no, no. It's possible even when you're so totally in day to day life. Chitti vishramya tishtasi. If you can rest in the being, we all recognize that I am. There is something in me which says, hey, I exist. There is something in me which says, I, that is separate from the body. Which is why when you cut your hair, when you cut your nails, it doesn't feel as if you have diminished. In fact, if you've ever noticed very clearly, Every time you trim your nails or cut your hair, you have a feeling of expansion. You have a feeling that, oh wow, something has become more fresh, something has. And so if I was really identified with just the body, cutting the hair would have diminished me. But that is not so. And that's why, at a certain level, there is a separation between this body and me. Just like I say, these are my clothes, which means I'm separate from the clothes. In the same way, when I say this is my body, then I'm separate from the body. The moment I feel this, the moment I experience this, that moment I become free. There's no waiting period, there's no gestation period, no 9 months for the baby to be born. The Gurudev says so beautifully, you are free right this very moment. You can be happy right now. What are you looking for to be happy? Do you think one day enlightenment is going to dawn on you and God's grace is going to pour on your head like rain? Is it going to come through the ceiling one day and take you by surprise? No. Walk feeling you're free right this moment. Move like a cloud. Walk on the mud, but don't let mud touch your feet. Let the mud not bury your feet. So beautiful. So you'll say, well, Kashibhya, all this is excellent. During the class, we all nod our head. Yes, of course. But what to do? Worries come. So Gurudev says very beautifully, if you're determined to worry, worry big. What will happen in so many thousands of years? What is happening in the entire universe? What's the future of the universe? The moment a worry becomes big, it becomes joy. So there is a saying, Yo vai bhauma tatas sukham. That which is big, that is joyful. So this is such a beautiful way of looking at reality, to be completely in the world, yet be completely detached. That is why detachment is possible for everyone on this planet. To be dispassionate, we don't need to go out into the Himalayas or somewhere else and say, okay, I'm going to run away from society. It's not the art of leaving, it's the art of living. It's truly when I'm able to live every moment so totally that that I can that I can be free. And the irony is that it's not the elements that are binding us, but we that bind the elements. We want everything to stay stationary. We want the status quo. Now look at it in your workplace. Maybe you expect everyone to behave in a certain way, but everyone is changing. And when we are not able to adapt to the change, when we are not able to perceive that all this is changing, we get more and more frustrated. So if you ask me, a lot of people think spiritual knowledge very different from what I can use in my corporate setting. I tell you, it's the exact opposite. If you are well grounded in this, then nothing in the world can shake you. And that's so amazing. And that's why, as as the consciousness in the world rises, so to speak, you see more and more people wanting to harness spirituality because everyone's seeing this works. So for me, when I was in college, I still remember in 1995, Art of Living was not as popular then as it is today. And everyone said, well, what's happening? You're graduating from IIT and you're going to the ashram, growing long hair, beard, wearing a dhoti. It was so funny because in my convocation, and I still wonder how this happened. By the time it was time for our convocation, IIT Bombay had done away with the traditional black gown and cap. And till today, if you want to graduate in IIT Bombay, I don't know about the others, but you have to wear traditional Indian attire. So we are supposed to wear dhoti, kurta, and angavastram, or kurta pajama and angavastram. So everyone had a like the uttariya and everything. And so it was so much fun to get graduated not with the black clothes, but really sparkling white, spotless, clean clothes. And I was in a dhoti and angavastram, and it was, I felt so good about uh, my samavartan, so to speak. But of course, that's another story. So coming back to this, so when everyone said, "Hey, what are you doing? You're throwing away a lucrative career and getting to an ashram." Something in me told that I think this is the way. And the moment I had seen Gurudev, I realized this is it. This was what I wanted to really do with my life. And often we want to do something and we end up having to do something. And that's bondage. Do you recognize this? A lot of times we get put into situations where we end up doing something that we don't like. And we often think that's because the world is different and I'm getting bound. But if you look at what Ashtavakra is saying here, it's so beautiful. He says the universe is changing, the elements are changing. When you cannot accept that change, that's when you try to bind the elements. You say, hey, the universe should be here, but it's actually here. So it's not the universe that's binding you, my dear. It's you that's binding the elements, the universe. And that is impossible. The universe has such great force. It moves on. When an elephant moves, it does not care whether the ant is trying to stop it or not. It does not even know that. It just keeps moving. And the ant says, oh my God, I was trying to really stop this elephant, but it just doesn't stop. I'm so unlucky, and so on. When I was listening to the Ashtavakra, this flip happened for me. And it was so beautiful because then I could see that, hey, the universe is going in such an amazing manner. And if I can if I can accept this fact, if I can see this, then my actions also become accordingly. Our scientists knew exactly this. So when they had to send uh, a rocket towards Jupiter and Pluto, a satellite towards the outer planets, they said, well, how can we do it? If we just send a rocket, it's going to take too long. So they said, well, let's get something to slingshot around the moon and around Mars. And then it went ahead. Then it gathered energy at every stage of the journey. So if that said, well, how can it happen? Well, it would have gone very slowly. But when you recognize that this is how the universe is moving, then you are able to harness that to go in the direction that you want to go. Mars is going in a different direction, yet using the gravity of Mars, the satellite went in a completely different direction. This is what it means to to accept the change in the elements. Often when we hear this, that hey, the universe is not binding you, you're binding the elements, accept things as they are, it's all moving like this, well, you better realize it is like this. Internally the dialogue says, hey, but I want to go here, how can you tell me to drop my idea? I want to unmute and talk, how can you tell me don't unmute and talk on the Zoom call after Kashibaya finishes speaking? So if you notice, there is a tendency of the mind to hold on to what it wants to do. And often, when some of this knowledge is being spoken, even though the head is nodding, yes, 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 Internally, the mind says, well, but I still like this. Your teacher is saying, don't drink tea and coffee. And your mind says, well, teacher, tea and coffee, I choose the tea and coffee. Do you get what I'm saying? But skill, what is it that makes us a sadhak? The ability to see that I can follow this and get this also. Getting the best of both worlds is the quality of a sadhak. When you reach for the highest, then everything else also comes along. So wake up and see this. Spirituality is not anti-life. In fact, it is the easiest way to live life. And for me, when I look at Gurudev, that is a perfect example of knowledge being the easiest way to live life. Do you get what I'm saying? So, homework for tomorrow. I love the smile that comes on your face when I say homework, like good students. So I can see that not many backbenchers here, or even if they are backbenchers, they like the teacher very much. You know, I don't know if you were also a backbencher, but every backbencher in school always had some teachers they really loved. And, and those were usually the people that they ended up following. So, homework for tomorrow, very simple. Just recognize Yadi Deham Prithak Kritya. Can I look at myself as not just this body? See this separation. And the second thing, with the separation comes the freedom. Recognizing that it's not the elements that are binding me, but me trying to bind the elements. Me trying to say, hey, fire should keep happening here. There should be water here. Uh, in this person should behave like this. This person should always be loving. And we allow people to have the freedom. And at the same time, look at how skillfully you can get your work done with that freedom, allowing that freedom. Now, don't go about doing something crazy. All of these homework that we are looking at is really something that you're doing, which just brings out the insight that we are talking about. So feel free to look at it the way you're looking at it. You have your own ways of looking at this knowledge. Perfectly okay. But if mm, if we have mm, if we have just put our attention on this and and contemplated on this, then something wonderful can happen. Okay, I can see there are some questions. Okay, anyone? So there's one question on the chat that's come in. Kashi Bhaiya, if everything is changing, then what is constant? This is a wonderful question to ask. So just hold on to this question and ask yourself, what is it that is changing? What is it that is not changing? What is it that is permanent? And what is it that is not permanent? Now, if you might notice that at different times, you have different answers to this. Have you noticed when you just wake up in that state of mind that is just half awake, it seems as if we are a different identity. Notice that period of time when you just wake up and it's as if you're slowly acclimatizing to this world. You're starting, oh yeah, this is reality. Let me remind myself. Look at that. And you'll see that, yes, everything is changing. So you'll notice, for example, relationships change, people change, and we hold on and say, well, this is just not done. Come on. But at a certain point of time, recognizing the change and then working around it, you'll find that you'll end up getting to where you want, at the same time being able to to accept the change. I know a lot of this might seem goal. It might seem that, hey, it's going around in circles again and again. But sometimes you never know when things click, when what happens. Great. Anyone else? Anything? Please feel free to unmute and.
Kashiji, one of the things you said reminded me of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where he says, I am of this world, but I am not in it. That involvement and yet detachment.
Absolutely.
Really reminded me of that.
Perfect. Shweta?
Yeah, Bhaiya. So if the only thing that we are finding real is this moment, because past is gone, present we don't know. So why is it that when we are doing karma in this moment itself, but the result is we are getting it at a time which we don't even know? So why is it affecting to something unreal? Why doing something in real has results in something which is unreal? So what is the relation?
A lot of times, this question of karma, there's only one answer, that gahana karmano gati. The ways of karma are unfathomable. What does karma really mean? Karma simply, in Sanskrit, karma means action. So we do certain action and it gives certain result. But is the result dependent only on my action? No, there are so many factors that gives rise to that result. For example, if I plant a seed, then will the height of the plant depend on what I'm doing? No, it also depends on the quality of the soil, so many other factors. So actually, my act of planting the seed was just maybe 1% of the job. 99% was happening somewhere else, some other factors. But what do we think? I did this, it should result in something. So the karma theory simply states karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You can do whatever you want, but don't think that only your doing is responsible for the result. Do you get what I'm saying? That is where we tend to bind the universe. We say, hey, I have done this, so obviously this should happen. But I have done this, and this one is doing this one is doing this. So many things are getting together. Obviously, you say, well, I have put sugar in my kheer, but maybe someone else has put salt in it. Maybe someone else has put kali mirch in it. So many things could have happened, and it becomes a completely different dish. All you have done is put the sugar. You have not even boiled the milk. You've not even done the rice. That someone else has done. But our thing is that we say, I put the sugar, it has to be sweet. But not necessary that that is the truth. So, for example, in a relationship, I say, I have done all these things. Obviously, this person should be like this. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's not that that is the only thing that is there in that relationship. There are so many other factors that come in. Same thing in our career. I say, I have achieved, I have done all these things. Why are people not grateful? They should be doing this, they should be doing that. I have done so much for everybody. But when I recognize that I have done some things, but many other factors were also involved, then it becomes easy for me to see what is happening. And that is how the karma theory can free us from the burden of the result of action. Do you get what I'm saying? A lot of time, because we think the burden of the result depends on us and something else is happening, we get bothered, we get bogged down. Looking at this, then we are able to focus really on doing something. Does that make sense, Shweta?
Yeah, so in other words, the result is actually binding the elements.
Exactly. If you expect a certain result, you're saying this is how the element should be functioning.
Correct.
But like you say, put in water. So this should be only water, but maybe someone else put the fire and it became steam. So you say, hey, I put the water. Why is there no water? Because someone else put some fire and it became steam. So exactly this is what the elements is. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir.
Great.
Kashi Bhaiya,
Yeah.
this is Manas here.
Mhm.
Actually, to add on to that point that you made, I believe that that Jagna Bhav is a very powerful concept in our scriptures, right? That
Mhm.
that so many things comes together and then things happen, right? That what you just now said, I think that is the whole concept of that Yagna Bhav or Yagya, that what we do, right? We offer many things. Actually, being a person of science, I was not initially not able to appreciate this whole Yagna business. But once I understood the philosophy behind it, it's basically, and it's so much true, right? Like, for example, within our body itself, how many organs we regulate? We don't regulate anything, right?
Totally. Totally.
If it is given to us, we will not be able to survive even for an hour, maybe, right?
Exactly.
So then I understood that yagna means so many things coming together and making that whole thing happen. I think that is where the whole concept comes out, right? And that is where this karma and the result of the karma things fits into so nicely. That's what I was
Absolutely.
thinking.
Absolutely. Parul?
Yeah, Kashif, I wanted to ask that I too want dhan, dhanya, sampatti. When I sit here, actually, I'm not thinking of moksha, mukti.
Perfect.
And I know you said कि मतलब you can get everything, but मुझे लग रहा है
किसको चाहिए?
मुझे तो चाहिए. And I'm just wondering, everybody's got a path, and here I'm to looking at basics कि ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए.
So, not necessary that that what we see, everyone is walking on the path. Everyone is a work in progress. There is something somewhere all of us need to grow. And usually what others are becomes more obvious, and what we are is a little more challenging. Especially if you're very sincere, then we say, oh my God, I have all these things that I need to take care of. But if you actually look at it, most of us are in such a nice place that we have the opportunity to even come like this, get together at night, chit chat, contemplate on these things. We have techniques that help us to go through, and really, that is such a blessing. Don't you think so, Padma?
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess there is a couple of questions on Bhaiya, the witness and the seer, the consciousness are the same thing. Yeah, you can call it that. But if I think that the results in the future are co-dependent on others, won't it take away from my will to work hard to make my future beautiful? Definitely. A lot of times, this is the excuse that comes up, the mind comes up with when we need to get into a work mode. You say, well, if it does depend on me, why should I even put the effort? Where will I get the enthusiasm to put the effort in? So then Gurudev says very beautifully, there are two ways that action happens. One, you act to achieve something, and the second, you act because you are something, because you're happy. So you do something to get happiness, or you do something because you're happy, and that is something that is sustainable. If we keep looking for happiness outside, like for example, if I say, well, I want that, till I say I want that, it's separate from me. I never have it. If I say, on the screen, I can see there is the Ganga and the hills. I really want to be there. Now, when am I saying I want to be there when I'm not there? When I'm saying I want to be happy, when I'm not yet to the level of happiness that I want to be. So everything, when I say I want this, I want this, I want this, it is actually that we are stating the fact that I don't have it. So there is a way of working which says, I want to be happy. That's why I'm doing all this action, which will result in a certain result. Or I take that part out of the equation. I say, I'm really happy. Now, what can I do? Have you seen really happy people? They can't sit still. Action flows out of really happy people. If you have ever been to an Art of Living satsang, you'll see there are some Enthu cutlets who stand at the back and dance for every song. And they're not satisfied just standing up and dancing. They want others also to stand up and dance with them. And maybe some people just want to sit and meditate, and suddenly the nature of joy is to share. And so when we look at that, when we see that I'm doing something, but it's not just dependent on me, but if I'm doing this out of my joy, then I'm not looking for the result of action. Then I'm free. Then I'm able to focus on what I'm doing right now. For example, right now I'm talking on this Zoom call. I'm doing these sessions in the evening. If I keep thinking, okay, by doing this, I'm going to pitch something and get something out of all these people, then I become weak. But if I'm saying, hey, I just love doing this. I love this Ashtavakra. It has made such a big difference to my life. Let me just talk about it. And then it's not that I want everyone to understand exactly what I'm understanding. If I'm like that, I'll get so frustrated and cuckoo. But if I can say that, hey, you know what, let me just share whatever it is that I have, and then I'm able to put my 100% in whatever I'm doing. So if I'm able to make this separation, I'm not just this body, then if I'm able to see that all the elements have their own wonderful dance that's going on, that's making this universe what it is, and if I'm able to join that dance, then life becomes a celebration. Then even the pain, karma, whatever I can think of, when I think of that, oh, it should be like this, but it is like this, then it becomes miserable for me. But if I could just join this dance of creation, just see that all these elements are just moving, and let me just agree to be with it, I tell you, it's an amazing feeling. Haven't we all had this experience? Maybe you had a terrible headache, you're really sitting and you're feeling miserable, and suddenly your best friend came over and your headache improved. You said, okay, and your best friend said, well, let's make some chai, and and slowly all of that vanished. This has been our experience. When we are able to go with the flow, we are able to see that all the things that bother us drop down. So that's all for tonight. It's already 9:50. And as usual, you have your homework for tomorrow. Keep smiling. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next edition of the Ashtavakra. Jai Guru Night.